Hi there, everybody in the International Women's Day Circle. This week, we're excited because we have a guest coming to us all the way from Wichita, Kansas. And Nancy is here with us to share a little bit about what she is doing. She has an amazing program there at Wichita State University. And I'm just excited to share this and really showcase her programs and what she's up to over there and keep International Women's Day going year round. So not just March. We're into April, so we're already succeeding. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
I am thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So one of the things I want to jump right in so people get to know you. Tell us a little bit about what drives you and what led you to the work that you're doing right now at Wichita State University. And of course, what your role is at Wichita State.
With what drives me, I began my career in public education. And I started out as a teacher and then a principal. And I focused on getting into schools that really worked with more underserved populations. So I've always had a big heart for that. And then after about 11 years, I ended up leaving education. I had my own business, and that's what took me into the private sector. And as much as I had this strong passion for education and loved what I was doing, I found a really strong passion just in that private sector in the business world. And so I ended up at the Center for Entrepreneurship at Wichita State University in a role that combined my passion for helping people for education, but also my passion for business. And so I basically work with startups, and it's just, helping people live their passion. That it's cliche, but they always say that when your job is what you're passionate about, it's no longer a job. So, and that's how it feels for me with what I do. It's so much fun, and it's just every day brings something new and different. So I love being able to do this.
Well, I can attest to just the experiences that I've had with you. We've never met in person. We've only met through the pandemic and virtually. And I feel like I've known you because I can feel that enthusiasm every time we hop on a call. Working with you, your students and entrepreneurs in the community are so lucky to have you, because somebody who really truly is in a position that they're passionate about, it's contagious, and it's an amazing opportunity to have a support system with somebody like you. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to highlight you, because you are doing some incredible things for the community. So many to speak about. And I know you're going to share one of the programs that you're working on right now. But tell us a little bit about some of the programs that you're doing right now specifically, and what are the skill sets that these programs are providing or helping your members develop?
Well, the one I'm in the throes with right now is the Shocker New Venture Competition. And it is an annual competition that we hold here at the university for our student entrepreneurs. And it is just amazing to see these young people and the ideas that they come up with for startup. As a matter of fact, they make me feel like I was a complete slacker when I was going through college, because I did nothing that comes close to comparing to what these young people are doing. And it's exciting to see what the future holds in entrepreneurship and in the startup world, based on working with our college students. So we just are today completing our first round. And these students came in. Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, anybody who's ever led an event knows how much work and what pressure you're under. So again, you to take the time to meet with us, it just shows what kind of a powerhouse you are, because even during the competition, when you're in the trenches, you're like, sure, I'll come on and chit chat with you.
Absolutely. You can always make time, right?
Yeah.
So today we just, the judges are completing their judging on the first round, where the students had to enter in a 3-minute video, and that video has to encompass their business model. And, here at the university, at the Center for Entrepreneurship, we really focus on, at the beginning of your venture, not putting together a full business plan. That's just made up of a bunch of guesses. And so instead, using that business model, it forces these entrepreneurs to actually validate all the assumptions that they're making about the business side of their venture. So they're getting they'll receive all the feedback tomorrow. It's both quantitative and qualitative. So they'll get lots of narratives from the judges. And that information then up to 16 teams will be selected based off of their scores. And then they will use that narrative feedback to be able to update their business models and really, flesh out more of what's going to make that business model a successful business down the road.
That is such a valuable experience to have as an entrepreneur, to go through this process. Also, they're probably learning so much from each other as they can see all these students doing it at the same time. It's kind of like a competition and a hackathon all pushed into one, because it's all real time. They're seeing these teams submit their ideas or their company ideas. What a awesome way to really start to develop the muscle that they need and take them through that process. And also make sure they don't waste time developing a plan for something when, hey, it hasn't even passed the first phase.
Exactly. And then the really exciting part is, because when you mentioned as far as seeing each other's ideas, and, they're also going to have that opportunity on April 26th when we hold the trade show followed by our finals. And this trade show that we do as part of the competition, from all the research we've done, it's the only trade show that's done across the U.S. And so it's a really good opportunity. And the judges that come in, these are all amazing people in our community that volunteer their time. But these are, serial entrepreneurs, they're investors, they're C-suite, they're subject matter experts. They come in and do the judging. So, we'll have up to, and then we also have a segment where students come in and judge. So we'll have up to 140 to 150 judges come through the trade show.
Wow.
And they'll literally go around to every booth and judge, based off of the pitch, and then the Q&A that follows that with each one of those entrepreneurial teams. So it's really fun. It's high energy. It's crowded. It's loud, and it's a blast. So I'm really looking forward. It's my favorite day of the year. So
I bet it is so cool. And what's really exciting is you're mentioning so many skills along the way. It's like there are so many you can't even name in this interview, but definitely pitching on a video, which is very different, which has now become the norm during the pandemic. That was kind of the shift, was, okay, now you have to get investment as an entrepreneur, which means upload a video. And that's even in the interview world. So that's a skill, that's a life set that they're going to have, how to pitch themselves or their idea. That's one on video. Then you have like all this working with each other, peer-to-peer collaboration. And then you have pitching it in person at a trade event or show, and what that is like, because that's a totally different energy and experience, and you're using so many other skills, chit-chatting and really connecting with people in person. So I love the fact that they're not just pitching only on video, they're doing a combination of in real life with each other. You're really developing all the skill sets as an entrepreneur through this experience, and that is kudos to you guys, because that is not easy and it is a lot of work. It's like 4 or 5 events in one.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of work without a doubt, but it is well worth it. The feedback we get from students afterwards really does show the value that they get out of it. And some that were even reluctant to do it, and then, end up saying, I'm so glad I went through this experience. And, we never know how many are, when we're at this part of the process, how many are going to move forward with their startup. But what we do know is that even those that don't with the idea, they enter into this competition, they get the bug. And, so we have a student that is his 3rd time through in the competition.
Awesome.
And he isn't, I say a student, he started out as a student. He isn't even a current student. He left after his first year at the university because of an extremely good job, but he keeps coming back with these new ideas. And I just have zero doubt that there's going to be a point in time where he's going to have a startup that takes off.
Well, and that's amazing too, because that muscle that you got to keep developing and growing. And when you get that bug, that's kind of when you found your entrepreneurial spirit animal or whatever is inside of people.
Right.
Because when they keep coming back and they can't stop, and they're just going to keep tweaking and improving and learning from many entrepreneurs. You could look at the history of so many of the successful ones that we know of. It was their 3rd, their 4th, their 5th, their 20th venture. It's not an overnight thing. There's always that cartoon that shows like, oh, overnight success. And it's like, no, if you look at the timeline, there were a lot of little ups and downs. They had to survive. So that is amazing to hear that you are able to see those entrepreneurs develop over time and also continue to come back to you guys, which is a huge compliment to their experience with you guys, because you create this environment that keeps that enthusiasm and passion alive.
Yeah, and it is exciting because when you do find that person, it's really easy to just put all your energy and time behind them, because you know that they are so for real. And I don't know, it's so exciting to work with them. So you really do just devote everything you can to try to help them.
Oh my gosh. Well, in terms of the entrepreneurial ecosystem that you work with, and of course, this is very specific kind of idea around businesses and really testing, the from concept to which ones you actually try to go to market and develop and then beyond. But you mentioned something earlier that I definitely want to visit because it's one of the reasons I'm so excited to work with you guys at Wichita State, to highlight you, why we want you here in the International Women's Day Circle. But you mentioned underserved or underrepresented, estimated. There's so many ways that you can say this. Talk to us a little bit about those individuals that, you're so passionate about and how you're able to really bring them into the community in ways that they feel like they belong and they have the support they need so that, they aren't alone in this journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, there are specific groups. I know here in the state of Kansas that we have more women's startups than anything else. And if you look at just the funding available to that group, it is so minuscule.
Yeah.
So minuscule. Especially when you talk about, funding as in angel funding or, VC funding, those types of things. So I think that, a lot of times that they don't value as much, what they have and what they're doing. And so being able to reach out to them, there are other groups. We work really closely with a group here in Wichita called the Create Campaign. Mm-hmm. And their focus is on serving Black and Brown entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And they were just doing a training this last Tuesday night at the center. So, working together with different groups within the community even that really do have their focus more on that underserved population. Yeah, it helps our outreach because I think sometimes, especially with more underserved populations, the university is intimidating.
Right. It's not welcoming for everyone, or historically, even entrepreneurs just not even considering themselves an entrepreneur. They're saying, oh, I just have a small business, or I just do this side hustle. Even just that transition mentally, owning, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I can think bigger and I can turn this into something bigger. That's falls in line with what you're saying and how important those collaborations come into play.
It really does. It really, because I do find, when we're working with them, and going back to what you said, when they might see their business as, oh, I'm just a small business, or this is just, a side hustle or a hobby, when we start working with them and they start exploring the possibilities, you see their dreams start to grow.
Yes.
And all of a sudden their idea and their vision for their business changes and grows too. So it's really fun to, to watch that and then see them, work towards growing their business and putting that as a focus.
And so collaboration, as you said, having groups that specialize, that can really speak to, the needs of those underrepresented groups, and everybody's needs are always changing. Like, needs of women are changing, needs of people of different backgrounds are changing. Like, this is something that's not just like there's a one size fits all. So the fact that you reach out beyond the university, which is so rare for a university to really connect with its community, and I applaud you guys in doing that, to say, hey, look, we don't have all the superpowers, or we would be even better if we brought in more superpowers from the community to fully support everyone on this journey, and not just saying, hey, you have to do it this traditional way or this way or fit into this box, but we're going to get whatever resources you need as an entrepreneur from us, from the community. You've made those bridges and those partnerships possible, and that's not easy to do. So tell us a little bit about the role that collaboration, community has played in really getting these underserved entrepreneurs the resources and support they really need.
Right. Yeah. We really like to serve as a connector for the community. We have a really decent ecosystem in Wichita for startup. But it's also, for us, with the ecosystem as a whole, we work really closely together. So we all kind of have these different lanes that we've taken. And the biggest lane that that not everybody wants to get into is filling that pipeline. Because you're working with people really early on at their idea phase and doing a lot of, ideating and, really working towards, building out that idea, validating if there's even a customer out there, if they're solving a problem that anybody cares about, that's so early on. And so, while that is not the most lucrative side of dealing with startup, if someone doesn't fill that pipeline, then we don't have, those businesses growing and developing. So that's kind of the lane that we take. Of really just any idea, in anything that someone has and that they bring in, it doesn't matter what it is, we will work with that person to help them to either move it forward or to figure out that they really aren't solving a problem that has a customer base to make a startup out of it.
Yeah. And what you're talking about, I think is really interesting to something we've always chatted about, which is you have to have the seed, right? You have to plant the seed, and everybody loves when the plant is flowered. So they already have a company. It's already, and they all want to, of course, attracted to this beautiful flower, but it started with a seed, and that idea is that seed, and you nurture that seed, which is, as you said, it's not necessarily where it's not lucrative. It's a very much paying it forward moment of the process. Yet for a healthy ecosystem, you need to nourish and help those seeds develop. And, not every seed will bloom, but I think it's always been in my mind something I've really appreciated talking with you, because so much of what we see in the news in the startup ecosystem, the startup world, often that we see in the news, for those who may not know, is when it's already full bloom.
Right.
Like Series A, B, C, all these other, they don't even, what is an early stage founder and entrepreneur is what you're talking about. It's from the moment they have an idea, and how do they, when they don't have any resources, they just have an idea, go out in the world and test it and make it work and experiment with it and go back to the drawing board. And then, it's the hardest phase. And yet I'm always amazed that in the media, they don't really give an honest portrayal of what an early stage entrepreneur really is. It's almost like they ignore it completely, and they just kind of like, just fast forward. Early stage is just when they're making money or they've gotten an investment. And it's not. It's what you work with every day. And I think for underrepresented founders, as a woman myself who knows how hard it is to raise money, how hard it is to launch an idea, how hard it is to test it, how hard it is to get customers, how hard it is, all these things, right, that you're teaching as the skills with your competitions and your programs.
Right.
It's so hard. And yet to a founder, that is what an early stage entrepreneur is. Yet in the media, the early stage is like way past that. So I really want to kind of highlight that difference of what you're talking about, what you offer. And when we say early stage, the word is misused a lot.
It is.
And so in terms of this conversation, how we could turn it into action to help the seeds, help more underrepresented founders feel seen and supported and support you, what are some of the next steps we could do? How can we help you? How can we help more underserved communities, women, communities of color, all sorts of underserved communities here? We like equity for all founders. What would be the action steps you would recommend or give our audience?
I think that with this audience, that one of the biggest action steps that I could see would be assisting with mentoring. Because even with, like a lot of times when I talk to founders, successful entrepreneurs, whether they be a single, startup or multiple, which many entrepreneurs have multiple startups, they feel almost intimidated to work with founders at this level when they really are at this early stage. And, your experiences, it provides inspiration, it provides hope. But I think that founders sell themselves short on how their mentoring really can help provide assistance with them, and on both ends, whether that be just helping them to understand, maybe this maybe, the startup space isn't the right startup space, or isn't the right space for them. I think those things are just so valuable. And to me, that would be by far the greatest way that people can help. There's also, the opportunity to provide virtual discussions. I think that, expanding our founders' world outside of just where their location is, it brings in new and fresh ideas that they might not think of that could spark something in them. So I think there's, lots of opportunities down both those paths.
I really appreciate you sharing. Both of those are so important and vital, and something all of us have to share or contribute, even if it is through mentorship, even if it is through finding those chat rooms or additional circles, which of course we have many to offer free too, where you cannot be alone, and you could also get out of your local community and really have at your fingertips with our mobile devices. We can actually connect with so much more than ever before, and encouraging entrepreneurs to do that, encouraging, all of us to think about that. How can we take the mentoring or the things that we're doing now and then have it reach a larger audience and impact more people? Wow, that is amazing. Nancy, I know you need to get back to the competition. We're on a tight schedule today. This was so fun, and I appreciate you so much and all the work you guys are doing at Wichita State. You've been invaluable to us as we've been testing, developing, growing our platform. So we wouldn't be here without this collaboration and partnership with you guys. And we want to keep paying it forward too, because we know that there's so much more going to come from all of these great ideas. And we hope today this gives everyone in the circle some ideas of ways that they can make impact in the next 30 days. Nancy gave us a few: mentorship, and then of course connecting with more people and larger discussions. So I look forward to seeing your responses. Definitely, I'm going to share Nancy's contact information as well as information about their program. So as you are curious or you want to check it out, you can connect directly with Nancy today. So thank you, Nancy, again for joining us. And we hope to have you on after the competition and maybe highlight some fun memories, or maybe even feature the winners. That'd be fun to have them back.
It definitely would. It would. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, Alexis.
Thanks. And we'll see you soon, and have a great rest of the competition. Take care.
Okay, thank you.
So please join us in this revolutionary way for us to celebrate IWD together, globally, acting as one, having a place that we acknowledge all of the efforts being made. And together we can attract greater allies, partnerships, and sponsors than we ever would have by ourselves. So please, it's not too late, but every day we are excited to be seeing new profiles being uploaded and shared out. Join us in this epic, historic event on Skillville with the International Women's Day 2024. We look forward and are so grateful for all of the incredible humans who have made this possible.